this next demonstration, I'm going to do a rub out on clay board, and it's really a fun exercise to do. There's no drawing here to start with. So I'm just going to take a soft paper towel, dip it in some water, and I'm going to take a little bit of quinacridone burnt orange. Now I don't want to go too dark, maybe just a touch of blue, and we'll just get a nice color on here. And you just wipe it onto the board. So you don't want to get this too light and you don't want to get it too dark. So it's just sort of probably about a 4 or 5 value. When I'm comparing this against that, it's about a 4 value. And that looks about right to me. Now I'm going to take a paper towel, and this is a little photograph that I'm working from. I'm going to dip this paper towel into water and then squeeze the excess moisture out, and I'm going to start looking for the shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do is go across the top where I think the ear area is and start scrubbing these white patterns out. So I'm lifting back to the light. Here's the light on the ear, lifting all that back. It's a fun thing to do, and it's a good exercise because it teaches you to see the shapes and put them down without having a drawing there to start with. There's a very distinct shape that goes across his nose, bridge of his nose up in here, and then his nose area here, going around the nose and then scrubbing that back out. And then I see under his ear there's a nice piece of light that's on his neck. I'm going in there and being fairly careful about where I put things because these shapes are all going to show in the final product, so I want to be sure that I'm pretty accurate about where I'm placing everything. And I can always come back in and change it, but basically I want it to be pretty accurate to start with. And if I wet this towel and turn it to a clean spot and put it in the water and squeeze it out, I can lift out a little bit more, even lighter than what it was on the first time that I put this down. So I'm beginning to see the shapes that I see here on this dog in the photograph, the light shapes. Okay, so I think I about got that so that I can recognize a dog at this point. I'm going to switch over to some watercolor pencils now. And I'm going to dip my pencils right in the water. I just put my watercolor pencils right in the water. And I'm going to start to draw. I'm going to look for this little dog's eye. Know it's going to go about right in here. And I'm still doing that dot to line method of drawing. I'm looking for the nose, and I'm just checking for the distance, how far it is from point A to point B. I know that other eye is low. It's way over here and down lower. And that also creates that personality, the way his little head's tilted to the side. The eyes in there. Go to a different color so you can see this a little better. Maybe I'll get a black. I don't want to use black too much, but you might be able to see it a little better for his nose so you can see that. There's his nose. I'm checking to see where the outside edge of his mouth lines up with the outside edge of his eye. And then I'm going to go around the outside edges with a little color so I can find the shape of his head here. I want to find his ears. I'm looking at the space from the outside of the eye to the edge of his ear, so I want to make sure I measure that correctly with my own eye and get that in there correctly. There's an important piece right there, and this shadow comes under there. And come right back up and find the shape of his head. I'm using just a little bit of green watercolor pencil just to add a little bit of coolness to this drawing. Not much, just a little bit here and there, especially up here on the nose area. So you can begin now to see this is a little puppy, and it has a puppy look to it. That's the whole thing, is can you do it so that it looks like a young dog and not an older dog? The same thing with when you're doing human beings. You have to be able to draw well enough and to see the shapes. I often have people ask me, well, how did you get this person to look older? And I said, I just put everything where it's supposed to go, and then it looks like the person. So if it's a child, it looks like the child. If it's an older person, it looks like the older person. So if you put it in the wrong place and that you get the shapes wrong, then it's not going to look like what it's supposed to look like.